Namaskar. So I feel sorry that I couldn't invite the Pope, who is not far away from here, to join this short class about difference between religion and spirituality. It would be interesting to have people like him here also to have some discussion. There is a lot of things that can be discussed regarding religion and spirituality. My idea was mainly to give you some key concepts regarding what is religion, that maybe many of you already know, just to rehearse. And the other one is what is spirituality? That's a big subject, and I think very, very difficult to explain what is beyond the mind. So actually, we are talking something that or one has realized what is spirituality, or how can you compare something that you don't know? So if you compare two fruits, one you have maybe tasted, the other one not, so you cannot really compare. And so sometimes difficult to talk about spirituality. I would say it's impossible to be clear about spirituality. What we can come close to a closer understanding, and those who have already had spiritual experience, they know what is spirituality. No need to discuss so much. Better to enjoy. So my name is Christian. My legal name, let's say, my spiritual name is Kamaleshvara. I'm a family acharya from Italy, South Tyrol in the Dolomites. I'm a German speaking. I come from the, let's say, Austrian German part, and so my English may have some Italian accent, some German, some mixed one, if you don't know from where it comes. So I'm from the mountain, and I'm very happy that I'm able to join you and to share what I have prepared. In the beginning, I thought, I'm going to do a big representation, but it's really boring talking about religion and spirituality if you are not into it directly and acting. So I prepared some key concept, and I would like you to ask questions. I hope you will ask questions. Otherwise, I will ask you questions. So you have to decide. So prepare some questions. I have the chat here close by, so I can see. Sometimes I'm so much passionate about the subject, I may not look at the chat. So Krishna Prema, just say hello. Look at the chat. There are some nice questions there, and yeah, as Krishna Prema already said, I'm working since I'm 35 years practicing anandamarga meditation. I'm married. I have 2 children. 18 is Chandra, and Jogesh Lucas, he's 21. I'm teaching since 34 years yoga and meditation to adults, and since 25 years I'm going to the public school and teaching yoga and meditation to children, mainly primary, some kindergarten, some secondary, and high school also. I'm a director of the Yogis Yoga and Intuitional Sign Academy here in Italy, where we teach to students what is yoga history, philosophy, anatomy, psychology, texts, scripture, yoga and society, yoga and art, and so on. So that's also a part where I'm really passionate about. In the past, I have not here. I wrote 4 books. One on tantric biopsychology, so the spiritual science. One on food for the gods, for the spirituality, for spiritual awareness. The other one on the 5 steps of spiritual meditation and yoga, and one book about how India and let's say yoga and Western society came in contact already in time of Greek until the years of the hippies. Okay, so and New Age, of course, now. So I'm very much interested about anthropology and how human beings has to deal with their goal and how to shorten the gap of that trip that path to the bliss. So this is what I mainly occupied. So now, if you go on the internet and if you Google religion, spirituality, you can find so many nice schemes, like one circle with all what is religion, another circle what is spirituality, and what is between, but both of them has. And rather than going already and repeating what is there, and certain things personally I didn't felt they were suitable to what we are talking today, I just prepare really short concepts. You will see them here on my here's for me it's my left side. I know for you it's your right side. You will see here popping up different concepts that I want to share with you. So first of all, just by raising the hands, you know how to do that. How many of you are coming or had or are still in a religious experience, or they are practicing some religion? I don't want to know which religion, but those of you who are still active practitioner of a religion. Okay. And some of you maybe who are not having any religious background, like, for example, people who were completely coming from an atheist background. So that this is something religion has never had any place in their life, in the personal life. Maybe you have seen from a neighbor, maybe you have been born close to a temple or church, and you have seen people going there, but you never have been interacting. Okay. And how many of you are doing some type of, let's say, spiritual meditation, spiritually oriented meditation? Those who are somehow dealing personally with the concept of spirit, let's say, of supreme consciousness, God, whatever is there. Okay. I just check. There is privacy, but at least to know who is my audience and how what I have to say. First of all, it is sometimes when one is talking about religion, there can be some friction mainly in the concept, not for the, let's say, deep human feelings. If there is some incoherence with the concepts, if I say something that doesn't fit to your vision or your concept of spirituality, it is not my intention to hurt anybody. It's not my intention to create any complexes. That's the first thing I want to say. Of course, I have to say something that is making the difference. Otherwise, why we are here to talk about the difference between religion and spirituality? Because we know there is difference. So the difference comes from, how to say, from the background, let's say cultural background, but also from the personal background. How we are born in this world, what type of psychology or consciousness we are born in, and how much we could accept things around us regarding religion or spirituality. And therefore, I wanted to start just with the main concepts. Personally, I have been, just to give you my feedback regarding, I have been born in a family that was not so religious. Let's say my grandmother, my grandmother, just living 10 meters from this house, from behind here, she was Sunday morning, when there was the mass in the church, she was ringing the bell because at 8:30 the mass was going on, and my father and my mother, they didn't want to go. because they have been forced to go to mass when they were child. So when she was ringing the doorbell, my father, my mother just said, "Don't go out, don't open, otherwise we have to go." And then somehow we got the feeling that it was not so interesting. And when myself, of course, I've been growing up in a Catholic background, so I did some sacraments up to 13 years. Somehow, being in the public school, and in Italy, public school means public religion is Catholicism. So when you learn about spirituality or religion, there is only one. Of course, there are others, but the truth is Catholicism is the main truth. And still now on every public school, in every room, the cross with Jesus Christ is there. You cannot touch it. So that's the situation. I have been growing up, and I'm still going in and out from so many public schools. Religion is something that is never gone away from the public environment. And sometimes being also in Rome, in Italy, where Rome is the capital of Christianity, let's say, of course, there has been a lot of discussion, a lot of criticism, a lot of a lot of sharing ideas since so many hundreds of years. And there have been, of course, there have been also the opposite camp, those who hate religion, because in the name of religion, so many things has been done, Inquisition, people have been killed. But, these are human failures, organizational failures. But we can also say certain ideas coming from certain doctrines may instigate people to kill. So when we talk about spirituality and religion, we have to understand religion wants to be linked to spirituality. Now the question comes, how much has religion realized spirituality? Or how much religion is teaching real spirituality? Because spirituality has to do something with spirit. So coming to the main two concepts, I just wanted to go back and try to see what the religion comes from Latin. Also, it's born here in Italy, and still we say, when we have to put a book together, we say dobbiamo rilegare il libro. We have to relegate the book. We have to tie the book's pages very tight. So religious means to bring something very close, to tie something very fast, something binding, some binding principle. So the religion also means to follow certain obligation, be careful, certain prohibition, but actually the main idea is ligare. Ligare means to bind. Religare means to bind strong bind. So this is the keyword of religion. And when we think about religion, in almost all religion, I must say, but of course there are also some exceptions. There are some religions who don't believe in God, like Buddhism. For example, Buddhism, they call it a religion, but they don't believe in God. So Buddhism is, let's say, atheist. There are some branches of Buddhism linked with some theism, but actually main concept of Buddha is that you get illumination. And there is no idea what you get with what you get illuminated. The concept of yoga is it's different, and spirituality is different. So when we talk about religions, we need to understand it is a phase of human evolution that you are somehow, you have to adapt this psychology. You have to adapt this type of belief. And but mainly it is connecting, tying fast putting together very close, the individual with God. That's the main idea. Okay? So when we talk about religion, it is something theistic, it's not atheistic. And the idea is the religious practitioner is somehow having a relationship with God. So this God can be personal God or impersonal God. For example, in Christianity, we have the impersonal God being outside the world, and then we have the personal relationship with Jesus. So God has become personified in a person. So that's some religious idea that God can be also a human being or in a human being. And you tie yourself to that incarnation of divinity. This concept we have also in Hinduism. They call it avatar. No, when they say this is incarnation of God. It can be also in Hinduism, we have animals also, that incarnation of God, like Ganesh, for example, the elephant. We have different idols that are used to for worship and to create a link, a binding link between the, let's say, spiritual aspirant, the human being in search of truth, and the, let's say, transcendental entity that you need somehow to have a relationship. Therefore, you build idols in the beginning of those idols. Then it became more like preceptors. So when we talk about religion, it's something very complex, but we can say it is a binding between microcosm and macrocosm. And this binding mainly is very tight, but it doesn't, in very certain case, in certain religions, it becomes one. So there will be always two entities very close. They will meet after death. If one is dying, you go to become one with God, or you go in the heaven. For example, most religions have heaven and hell. So when you go there, it's like another dimensions where you are there still as a person, and you are in company of God. You are very close to God. So this is one of the main ideas especially in religions. We have like Semitic religions, like Muslim. They don't accept a personal God. They never accept that God can be in a person. So their God is always impersonal. It is forbidden to create anything that is representing God, because God is beyond the creation. So we have also in religions, we have differences. And these differences also has created so many wars. Religious wars are the most powerful and terrible war, because it goes very deep inside sentiment. Spiritual, let's say, religious sentiment is very strong, because you trust more God than in human beings. And most of the religions, they codify the truth into a book, most of them. And that book, they call it the Holy Book. So this is a typical expression of religion. All developed religions, they have a scripture. That scripture is holy. In that scripture, you find the truth. In that scripture, God is talking to you. That scripture is given by God to some prophets. And this book is extremely important for the knowledge, for the realization. So what is in the book, you have to somehow believe. And most religions, what they do, you have to study these books. You have to remember every line of this book. There are so many expertise in this. They're quoting this line from that chapter where prophet had said, God has said to the prophet this and this and this. So with this type of arguments, we see that religions, inside the religions, there have been a lot of divisions. Almost all the religions has been divided inside, no? Inside the religions, because of the different interpretation of words of this text, then certain things has changed. For example, in Christianity, in Catholicism, they believe in Jesus Christ and God, of course. Also the Protestants. But the Catholics, they say, when you do the Mass and you use these rituals of that the wine becomes the blood and the bread becomes the flesh. For the Catholics, it is true, because to that sacrament, to that moment, it is transformed into it. The Protestants say it is only symbolically. It's not really. It's still bread, it's still wine, but symbolically it shows this. And because of this difference, they have one of these difference, they have split. Okay, so we see that in religions, we have within religions so many different sects, so different streams, and many through history we know that one mainstream wants to expel or destroy the other stream of religion within. We know that very well. Here in Europe, we have been killing each other for centuries because one was Protestant, the other was Catholic. Now they stopped, but of course, then they went down. They went down to the Jerusalem, and they are starting to have a war with Islam. So Islam also has difference. The Sunnite and the Shiite, they have a big difference amongst the idea who can be the follower of the prophet. So you see, in one sense, religions are contemplating to bring human being to be very close to God, very near, to give the blessing and the experience to be close to God. But we know from history, we know from the study that these religions, they have been divided and they have been creating so much war. So there is almost no possibility to unite all religions, because we will see at the end, they have some basic principles that are dividing people. But we can say that religions are awakening human beings to the idea that there is a God and there should be a relationship with God. That's important part. And we will see everybody is passing through that phase. Everybody, maybe not in this life, past life, but actually everybody is coming to that. So we have to move forward now. If you don't have any questions, I see here, but it is in, okay. It is just, if anybody has any things to add to question, my idea is mainly to make you understand religion. We can somehow say something because there are 4,000 or 5,000 years of history in the whole globe, what religion has taught, what they have done, who are the preceptors, who are the followers, what society they have built, what they have contributed to the culture, to the art, also to the suffering, to the exploitation. We know that very well. So, but the main idea they have all started was to create a relationship. Okay, then how this relationship has been built up, or how this relationship has envisioned, that is different from religion to religion. And that also we will see in the other part. Spirituality somehow is the goal, and religion has this responsibility to bring people towards spirituality. But then what is spirituality? What is that? So next slide I want to share is about spirituality. Okay, religion, now spirituality. We have to separate because there are many religions, all they say there is spirituality. So it means all religions, they're moving towards, they're accepting spirituality as their goal, but then they are different. So if spirituality is one, otherwise if spirituality is also divided, then how we can talk about something that can give human being hope to have peace if division doesn't create any peace? Division creates anger, creates staticity, creates aggressivity. So the idea of spirituality is what is concerned with a deeper feeling that we have within. So why religion is also trying to understand this, religion mainly tries to interpret what is soul. But spirituality wants you to bring you to the experience. So actually, spirituality is something we cannot say what it is. We can only experience directly. And religions may help in it. Religion definitely has some tools to help people to go towards spirituality. But we know also there are certain rules or practices that actually are creating division amongst themselves. So it is not going in the direction of spirituality. It's not universal. It is sectarian. It's only for few people, for a holy country, for selected people. It's not for everybody. Not for female, only for male. Okay, just for a special caste system, not for everybody. We know that in religion it is there. And when we talk about spirituality, we have to understand spirituality is an experience of non-dualism. There is only one feeling of unity with that goal. So if we can use the term God, we can say in spirituality, there is no difference between microcosm and macrocosm, between small I and big I. There is no difference. So you have the experience to be God. That's the goal of spirituality. Spirituality is to be one with the spirit. Religion may give you some advice how to reach, but we know religions are not always connected with scientific practices. There are many rituals, many ceremonies, sacrificial, that actually are bringing the mind outside. If you have seen certain ceremonies, certain rituals, they are made with big shows. Like, I don't know if you've seen, in India, there is one statue of Mahavira, the Jain religion. I don't know if you know the Jain religion. Gandhi was one follower of Jain religion. And the guru was Mahavira. Mahavira was same age almost as Buddha, like 400 before Christ. So they have a big statue, maybe 30 meters, and once a year, they bring so much milk on the top of the head of this statue, and this milk, thousands of liters of milk, they have color inside, yellow color, they put curcuma, red color, green color, and then the milk is going down from the head of this big statue, and the whole statue becomes yellow, becomes red, becomes green, and there is lots of bell, and people are singing. So this is typical of religion. They are bringing the mind outside. So religion is trying to get a spiritual realization through the senses. This is one characteristics of, let's say, more rituals of religions. Of course, we can see later on, religion has also a branch that is a little bit different, that is more mystical. But if we are going to see, religions are mainly concerned with mundane things. In religion, senses are very active, incense, bells, and food, and outside rituals that is creating attraction to the eyes, to the ears. You taste something, you drink something, you eat something, you touch something, you smell something. This is typical of many religious rituals. And that is actually bringing the mind outside, not inside. And there is also, if you see, competition. Who is making the bigger rituals? Most beautiful rituals. So people get attracted. Sometimes they use big chorus. They sing in a big chorus is there, and they sing and sing, and it touches your heart. They are really perfect singers. Also, if you see the architecture of the churches, of the temple, they're beautiful. You go in and you see the beauty. You see the pictures. You see the candles. You see the statues. So mind is most of the time going outside, enjoying also the beauty of it's like a museum. I don't know if you have been in a church. I've been 3 years ago in the Vatican church inside, and then it's like, it's such a beautiful place. But, the whole time you look, wow, this is a nice picture. How much it took him to do the picture. And then on the top of the ceiling, you see God is there with the finger pointing at you that you will go to the hell. And down you see the devil, and with the fork, and the fire is burning you. So it's like multimedia. For that time, it was multimedia. So if you go in a big place and you watch it, you feel like inferior. And then in between, there's some rituals that you feel, I'm the guilty one, I'm the guilty one. I don't know if you have gone through these rituals. It's my guilt, my guilt. They are doing like this. No, they're pressing on the Anahata chakra. Here we have one vritti, Anuttapa vritti, to feel guilty. Of course, if one has done mistakes, you should feel guilty. You have to ask you have to ask forgiveness. You have to repair what you have done wrong. But if one is not guilty, why you have to think? If children are going there and they say, I'm guilty, for what? Maybe they took some candy. Maybe they're guilty. So when we talk about spirituality, we are talking something that is nothing concerned with the mundane, no physical, no mental. And religion mainly is mental and physical, and sometimes spiritual. So in order to make it a little bit more clear, this next slide, or let's say my background changing, is this. So this is a very simple idea how to understand historically, anthropologically, and also personal development, how people go and where they go. So there are certain people in the whole life, they think only about themselves. No. This is now quite familiar in capitalist society. No. I have my iPhone, iPad, everybody, Oh, I exist. This is normally for children up to 5 years. When children are up to 5 years, whatever is around them, it belongs to them. They think the world is here for me. I am the superstar. And we know that this I, we are very much attached to this I. This I, we want to bring to all our life, and we can show that I need this, I need that. When they become teenager, they feel, okay, I don't want my father, I don't want my mother, I want to do myself. So still it's there. But then, when you cannot face the problem alone, and there is no father nor mother or friends who can help you, when the problem really becomes big, then to who you go? If you have a disease that said, you go to the doctor says, this disease, you may die maybe in 1 year. To who you go? You go to the other doctor. The doctor will say, okay, maybe 9 months. But to who you go to save your life? To your father, to your mother, to your girlfriend, to your boyfriend, to your husband, to your wife? To who you go? So this big clash, big mental clash, this big problem is somehow creating in the mind a feeling of desperation, hopelessness. At the same time, people want to struggle and they want to overcome that situation. So if you're without health, without money, without food, you're looking towards something bigger than your eye. You are surrendering to something that maybe help you bigger than yourself. If your mother is not doing, your father not doing, to who you go? Historically, they thought this creation is so big, there must be somebody who created all this. To that entity, I go and pray, give me this and give me that. Is it not? When the water is here, it's okay. But when the water comes here, then you raise your arms. Please, God, help me, save me. Even the atheists, in the last moment of their life, I think some doubt is there. So, of course, if you can do everything on your own, you should do. But sometimes you cannot do on your own. And you need the help of something around you. Normally it's society, but in certain moments, even society cannot help. So there is a natural feeling of surrendering towards the great. This need is in the Vishuddha chakra. It is called Namahavritti. Namahavritti is the mental tendency to go to somebody who is greater than you and ask for help or surrender all your frustration, all your needs to that great entity. So we call that great entity, normally in society, they call it God. Generator, operator, destructor. The one who is generating, creating, keeping the things, keeping the universe, and destroying or changing. So there is a natural evolution in human mind that one goes towards God, but still with the feeling, I love God, I want God, I sacrifice the goat or the sheep to God, or before they were sacrificing their own children to God. Is it not? In religion, in the Maya religion, Inca religion, they were sacrificing human beings. They were killing people for God, to God. If there was a drought or there was a calamity, they were sacrificing human beings. Then with Abraham, they shifted to animals. Still, they're killing animals in the name to praise God, to get something from God. And that feeling is there in everyone's evolution. Maybe we are not aware because maybe we have passed that feeling that I need God because God has to satisfy me. So this part is there. While later on, a person, we say in Tantra Yoga, prayer are the root cause of confusion. Prayer are the root cause of confusion. Why? Because let's say I'm sick. I'm having a cancer, let's say. And then I pray to God, oh, God, please save me, save me. I have a cancer, I still want to live long life, this. I pray, I go now to the church or to the temple or I do my meditation. I give my money to the Caritas, to the Red Cross. I will do all the good things. And then the cancer is getting bigger and I die. Then I may have some confusion, right? I'm confused. I'm relating to God. I'm giving my everything, almost, not everything, but my everything, and still things are not going well. If two camps are having a war, everybody's praying to God, oh God, kill my enemy, help me to kill my enemy. The other one also. So what has God to say? To who has, he's now one or the other. So sometimes one is winning and the other one is losing. So the one who is losing, he will get like a surprise. I offer 100 pigs to win this war. No? Why I didn't win? So they are confused if God exists or not. So prayer in this phase, when the second phase, when I and God is there is confusion. Confusion means they're not sure if God exists because with the prayer, it didn't work. Of course, those who pray and it works, then they feel, oh, that's the grace of God. So they feel more close to God, but it's not always, it's not 100% always that you get the grace. You may win 3 times and you will lose 2 times. So it is not something stable. This part, it brings human beings to a new evolution. This new evolution is like, maybe my approach is wrong. Maybe I should not ask God anything. I may just absorb God in myself. Why to ask God? God knows everything. If God is all-knowing, omnipotent, omniscient, he knows everything, he's everywhere, so he knows my problem better than me. Why to tell him what to do for me? No? It's not logical. People still are doing it. There are some point of evolution in religion when people, they don't ask anything physical or mental for them. They just ask something spiritual. The highest prayer in this second phase is when people say to God, please show me the way how to attend you, how to get you, how to be one with you. This is the cardinal prayer. Cardinal prayer means a prayer that brings later on to an evolution. All other prayers are non-cardinal. They're just for their own need, their own personal need. Maybe it's true, I'm sick, I'm without money, but actually it is not proper to ask God something that you may do by yourself. You may have come out from the staticity. You have to change something. So when people come to the highest level, let's say, of this I-God feeling relationship, at the end they surrender. They say, God, please show me the way. I want to be one with you. I don't want anything from you, except show me how to become one with you. So this phase is now the third part, when God is the main idea, and myself, I don't want anything. I want to give pleasure to God. I don't want anything in exchange. It's not a business. Before it's a business. Now it's just trying to devote some time just to surrender, to give pleasure to God. And that will finally bring you, because the mind becomes what you think. If you think completely on surrendering everything to the supreme entity, then you become what you think. So the last phase is this phase, is God. There is no I. This is unification. This is yoga. When the small I becomes one with the big I, when the macrocosm and the microcosm becomes one, like the drop goes back into the ocean. Actually, the drop is already in the ocean. It just forgot the fact that he is in the ocean, he or she. What is meditation? It's just reminding yourself that you are the ocean. You have never gone out from the ocean. You were always there. Just you were busy with yourself, or yourself asking God something for yourself. It's not altruistic. It's selfish. So these 4 phases we can use these names. The first phase is completely egoistic. The second phase is religion. The third phase is mysticism. And the fourth is complete spirituality. You cannot say what it is because you become that what you have done in the third phase. So mysticism or psychospirituality. Psychospirituality is leading you to spirituality. Religion may give you some hints what is in front of you, what you have to become, but it is most of the time relating your mind, your action outside, towards the senses, towards the book, towards opinion. So all the scripture have a different opinion about God. Otherwise, if God is one and he have talked with all the prophets, he would say the same thing for everybody. Why so much difference? Okay, now I stop just because as I told you, I'm passionate. I give you, this is just the starting, no? Then, but if you have any question, please, we should have.
Yeah, there is some questions. We have a question. Can we say religion is misleading us can we say religion is misleading us? It says, yeah, I think
You can say dogma in religion is misleading.
So I think the question was, is it misleading us from spirituality?
I would not say this. I would not say this. I can say within religion, if religion says, okay, it's like you have to go in that direction, but please do this, and you never reach that direction because you get lost in so many rituals and you are not satisfied because mind is always occupied with external most of the time. If we talk about, let's say, more developed religions, they're more intellectuals. You know, the first religions are very much related to matter. Like I will come back later. Idol worship, mountain, sky, sun, animals. Okay, they were worshiping what they were more afraid or what they could get out for their health, for their survival. That's the first religion. We call in German Naturreligionen, the shamanism. Naturreligion means they are very much concerned with nature. The holy mountain, the holy river, the holy lake, they are praying to something physical because they depend on the river, they depend on the mountain, they depend on the moon, they depend on the sun. This is the first religion. But then religion somehow got some evolution. They were understanding that behind all this manifestation, there must be some intellect, some personality behind. So then that religion became more sophisticated and were, let's say, a little bit more evolved. But they have put all this knowledge and also the rituals with the idol, they have been mixed up with some good idea about where is God, God is love, God is surrender, but they put also rituals and idol worship, all things to mix. So you have religion, they are mixed with all these things. They have religions, they are not, they're against idol worship, very much against, but they're very much into opinion. What is in the book is the truth. And this is something intellectual, and intellect can change. You can change your opinion. Now that religions come together, when people study religions, you can see how many different opinions are there about what is spirituality or what is God, without having the experience of that. It's just like speculation, let's say. They are interpreting what great saint has realized. So great saint and great personality has realized, have been in the state of mysticism, and they have touched spirituality, but they were not able to download that experience. They were not able to download it. For example, when they ask Buddha, after Buddha got enlightenment, they asked Buddha, because Buddha didn't want to use the name God, Brahma, because it was the copyright of the Vedas, of the Hindu priests. So he didn't want to use the word God or Brahma because it was the copyright of the caste of the Brahmins. And they were torturing people, they were exploiting people. So he didn't want that name again coming out. So they were asking Buddha, after enlightenment, does God exist? And he didn't reply. He didn't reply. He didn't want to give to the religion, how to say, the fact that there is some entity. He didn't say it because otherwise they would say, you see, we are right. And they continue to do the exploitation. But then another group of people, they ask Buddha, let's ask him another question. So does God don't exist? He doesn't exist. And he didn't reply. He also didn't reply. I don't know why, I wasn't there, so I can't say why. But he didn't want to express such a deep realization just in words, because it becomes politics. Religions on this, they have a depth understanding of what is human life. They have to go back to the source. But it is a lot of politics involved. In religion, a lot of politics is there. A lot, not only externally, also intellectually. So there are so many different opinions. Who is going to the hell? No, can children go to the hell? They have not done any sin. No, they go in the limbus. Okay, but why is one in the hell? He will stay there forever. Yes, he will never change. So there are so many different things. In spirituality, we don't have all these dogmas because we use philosophy. We don't use so much dogmas. We want to create a strong base. Only what stands on logic, rationality, intuition, we accept. And we should also make it practical. We have to realize, I have to give you the practice how to realize spirituality, not talking. God is green, God is blue, God is orange. This is belief. They never have seen, but they believe it is orange. This is typical. That's politics. It's opinion. Then they change also. Therefore, people also can change their religion. There are professionals who are trained how to change the religion in people.
I have another question for you. I like the diagram you gave about the egoism to religion to mysticism to spirituality. But I think, so as planetary leaders and as people like, we're trying to bring change to our communities, trying to bring change to ourselves, of course. How do we, here in the United States, there is supposed to be a division between school and the church, but like you, it's pretty predominant here, even in the United States, with Christianity, with Catholicism, and within it's kind of intertwined. But I guess my question is it's really a difficult subject to have a conversation. The minute I even bring up spirituality, people confuse spirituality and religion, that I find often. So is there do you have any insight on maybe how to approach that conversation, or to be able to share some of this?
You see, religion is something, it is more than politics. It's like the football, those who, or like you have American football, those who have like a team, they get crazy for that. They will never change. They will never, they have grown up with all these stories about how many miracle and this, it is, except they start to have some problems, like I was saying, they're starting to doubt about certain way of approaching spirituality. And the only, personally, the only one is the next slide. So the next slide is the reply to your question. It is, we have to deal with religious people, and very few people in religion, they practice mysticism. They are going close to spirituality, universal spirituality. And if you see mystics, they never criticize other religions. They never criticize other beliefs. So because it is a phase that everyone is doing, but of course you can expose irrational ideas, because we are in a very much scientific area. So if you are able to speak in a rational way, then people may, let's say, go away from the dogmatic religious belief and embrace universal religion. That's Dharma. So when we talk about universal religion, we have to talk about Dharma. And normally, religion is very much related, as I said, to Buddhist knowledge. While in the yoga, we are mainly concerned with self-realization. So in order to have a self-realization, you need a system. What is the system to realize the self? Not to believe, to realize. I don't depend on a book. I depend completely on my experience. But how I get that experience? Some people say now you go out and you stay in the sun on the 21st of June with some candles. It's always external. If you want to understand something very deep, you have to make your mind pinnacle, a pexed mind. So to make the mind a pexed, you need a system, you need a spiritual science. So my approach is mainly spiritual science is the solution for achieving spirituality. And in religions, we have certain practices. They are part of the spiritual science, but not all of them. So let's say, for example, Muslims. When Muslims pray, before prayer, they wash their hands, their feet, their genital organ, their flesh. So when they pray, they're much more focused. And you should not eat before praying, because if you eat before praying, then you fall asleep. What will you will say? Okay, now I pray to God. Oh my God, and you fall asleep because your belly is full. So there is a certain system how to relate to God or to spirituality, and that's a science. People will accept the science. They will not accept your guru is better than my guru is better than your, or my lecture is better than your one. It has something. It must have some practical value, and this practical value has been already given by Shiva many years ago. This was the sloka, the verses Shiva is giving. Uttamo Brahma Sadbhavo means the highest level of spirituality is continuous ideation on the great. So what is the highest spirituality? When you get there, when you minute after minute, you think that you are surrounded within and without but divine consciousness. This is the highest spiritual state and practice. Second one is Madhyama Dhyandaran. So second one is meditation and concentration. So spirituality you can reach with some concentration and some meditation. You can feel because you go within. You don't go without. So it gives you access to the intuitional states. Then to pray, to eulogize God, you are so great, you are the only one. Then it is like flattering. It's like, oh, I like you so much. It's like what you want in exchange. This is the third stage of spirituality, going down, okay? And the last one is Murti. Murti means the statue, idol. Idol worship is the worst of the worst. So the practice of idol worship is the worst, but it is still spirituality. Somehow you are relating to something bigger than you, greater than you, but it is keeping yourself busy in matter. Then praying, incantation, no, this is something, as we understood, is creating confusion, but still you are relating. Then better is when you close your eyes, you go within, you focus your mind, and when in the depth of your mind you have this I feeling. This I feeling we have is universal. This is the God existential feeling. So more your mind becomes calm, more it is able to reflect that supreme consciousness, spirituality. So it's not an opinion, it's like a reflection, not only a reflection. When you go higher, you see that you actually are no more the drop, you are the ocean. You have been always the ocean. You have only forgotten that. So in order to bring this ideation, you need constant practice. So the constant practice is made by the spiritual science in order to fulfill the 4 items of Dharma. What are the 4 items of Dharma? Expansion. So in our spiritual practice, in order to get to the great, we need to understand human mind wants to expand. Religions don't want so much expansion. Otherwise, they would not create the dogma. Dogma is the opposite of expansion. Of course, there are maybe dogmas, they are broader than other one, but at the end, you are the selected one, only you can go to the heaven. They are not really universal. The other item of divine characteristic of human beings that spiritual science has to be, there should be always some flow of love, flow of devotion. And then service. Service is also important. Spirituality without service is no spirituality, because it means you are neglecting, you are not acknowledging that others are also spiritual entities, maybe crude, maybe criminals, but they are still part of the one. And the fourth item is one wants to go back home. Home means within yourself. So spiritual science has to move you from crude to subtle. I didn't write, I think it went wrong. Not subite, but subtle. Okay, I have to. So spiritual science gives you practices, physical practice, mental and spiritual, but it is in a flow to move towards spiritual experience. And this should be applied with a curriculum. So we need to need to have an applied curriculum, how to go there, how to change my crude vrittis, my crude mind into a subtle mind. How to change that? We need a system, and that system, that spiritual science, applied spiritual science, is Ashtanga yoga. I think many of you are already familiar with Ashtanga yoga. I just put this one. It means Jama and Niyama, the first 2 one. So the first 2 one here, they are ethics, how I behave, how I relate myself with others. Also, religions have some ethics. Some are same as Jama and Niyama, some are going against. They are not ethics. There are certain rules. They are even dogmatic. So one has to understand what is ethic for universal ethic, not religious ethic. In religious ethic, if one is stealing you something, you cut the hand, right? Or if one says something wrong, you take the stones, you throw the stones on the head. Okay, this happened. Some are saying you have done wrong, now you go on the electric chair. I kill you because I am God, I can decide on your life. I can kill you because you have done this. Then we know that without a proper meditation posture, we cannot go deep inside because our breathing system is too fast. So if we sit in an asana, it helps us to visualize better inside. In order to do this asana for half an hour, 1 hour, meditation asana, dhyana asana, I need to do other physical practices. So we have so many yoga postures, but actually it is only one posture, the meditation posture. But in order to make that meditation posture long, you need to do other exercises. Then you have to control your breathing system, concentrating internally, visualizing, getting the feeling, like dhyana. Dhyana means to get the feeling, to get in love with the supreme entity, to get in love with that transcendental entity. And at the end, you get samadhi. Samadhi means bliss. You get spirituality. Spirituality and bliss is the same. There is no difference between spirituality and bliss. So we want bliss. In order to get bliss, we need to practice all these 8 items together every day. And slowly, it becomes physical, psycho, spiritual. You cannot, this spirituality, you have to feel in your mind and in your body. We know it is hormonal secretion. Hormones are secreted by the pineal gland and you go into spiritual trance. The spiritual trance makes your mind pure, calm, and your body feels relaxed. At the same time, if I do my physical practice, I prepare my mind in order to be more focused on this intensive romantic love with the supreme entity. So this devotion, this action towards Deva, to God, devotion means an action towards God. How? You concentrate your I feeling and merge it into infinite I. This is the spiritual practice in essence. And there are many, many details about how to do pranayama, how to do asanas, which chakra, what you feel here, what you feel there. And like this, if you do regularly, mind shifts from animal to human, from human to divine. And then spirituality is, you don't need to study, you are spiritual. No, you need to, no need to study, you are not, you don't need to be a theologist. You see, in Italy, we have so many people who study theology. So many people there, whole Rome is full of books. But Saint Francis was such a simple person. He got a spirituality within. He was Ramakrishna. He was not even able to read and write. He got Milarepa. Milarepa was a criminal. He got the highest enlightenment. So spirituality is something within you, like butter is in the milk, like the oil is in the olive, like the honey is in the pollen. You have to churn, raffine, make it golden. So this is the spiritual science. It's a long topic. If I have chance one time, I can give you all the different hints, how to make physical energy more psychic energy, and how to make the psychic energy more spiritual energy, how to transform what you have eaten in ectoplasm and ectoplasm in consciousness. This is spiritual science. This is the scope. And we have a philosophy. So philosophy, everybody can relate. With dogma, I cannot relate so much. I was always feeling this dogma, these irrational ideas. It's like strangulating my. I was feeling like the hell and Satan is there. I told to one, I was 4 years with the monks in a Christian hostel. And then I asked them, if God is omniscient, omnipotent, okay? So he knows everything, right? Yes, he said. The priest said yes. And he's able to do anything, right? Yes. Then I said, why he doesn't find out where is Satan and kill him? Then I asked him, if he's everything, he's also Satan. He is also Satan. No. So then I said, then you are dualists. Then you have one good God and one bad God. And this dualism is utilized to exploit the people. You go to the hell, leave your house to me, then you may not go to the hell, you maybe go to the in the middle, second class, third class. So this dogma, if you go in any religion, you find so many dogmas. It's also dangerous to talk about dogmas. Giordano Bruno has been burned in Firenze in front of everybody because he has exposed the dogma 500 years ago. Giordano Bruno. He said, religion, spirituality is universal. All these things are just irrational. If you say something against Quran in Iran, if you say this verse of the Quran, maybe not properly, maybe not correct, the day after you hang on the central square. So this dogma creates so much problem, and it's not the religion itself. There are institutions who are training people to become aggressive, to kill others. Of course, there is no secret. Some others are not doing that, but they keep the people maybe mainly in the intellectual flow. Believe in this, believe in that, and pray for this, pray for that. In a spirituality, you just be silent. You just listen your inner deepest I. And for this, you need to be trained. You need to dedicate time. You need to have somebody who is guiding you in the beginning, because it's not easy. The mind is like a monkey, jumping from here and there. So you need some, in the beginning, you need some proper tools. So we have personal mantra. In spiritual science, we are waking the Kundalini. Kundalini has to be brought up chakra by chakra. You have to eat a certain food. You have to do some exercise. You have to breathe like this and this in the morning on a certain chakra, in the evening on another one. You have to raise your hand. You're sing loud. You make yourself free and you surrender to the great. You do service as much as possible. In this way, expansion is there, and spirituality is a fact. There is no, you should not think about spirituality. It will come by itself. So, last minute. We have seen that religion brings easily to sectarism, based on geography, the Holy Land, the Holy River, the Holy and social sentiment. We Christians, we Muslims, we Buddhists, we yogis. No. Universal breaks with all this. Dogma is not allowed in spirituality. So whenever you see somebody talks about spirituality, but there is something irrational, dividing people, excluding people, that's religion.
Thank you. That's fantastic. And definitely would love to have you come back and talk about the science. We touch a lot of that in our 90 days course and some of our other live presentations, but I definitely think that's something I think a lot of people would appreciate and would be really useful to go deeper. And I think one thing I want to touch on before we conclude today was, I like the idea that you brought up the concept of philosophy versus the idea of us following a philosophy. I think that's really has a value, at least for me, gives me a framework to work from. So
yes.
Thank you so much. What a fantastic presentation.
No, I just put some words there.
No, we appreciate it. No.
Some even wrong, but anyway.
No, that's wonderful. Yeah, so we're at our end of our time today. But does anybody have any questions like that? If we can stay another couple minutes, if anybody had any questions. There was one question, somebody just said, if you knew about books that, P.R. Sarkar had written, or any books on this subject that are in Spanish. We had one of our Spanish readers.
I think there are many books. The thing is, Sarkar was very careful about talking about religion, although he talked in Proud, in a nutshell, he talks about the different religions, which dogma is there, making it, let's say, defective from the philosophical point of view. And he talks about, let's say, the era of intellectual, because mainly religions are under the leadership of intellectuals, of clerks, of whatever, ministers, of cult. So it is, they have to learn Latin, Sanskrit, whatever you don't understand, I understand for you. So if you go to Human Society, part 2, and you go through, it should be part 2, I think, yes. And there is like a Vipra. Vipra means intellectuals. Then you can see how many things Sarkar said about how intellectuals, in a very cunning way, are exploiting the mental inferiority of warriors and of workers, of Shudras. So it is very much explained. And few intellectuals, he says, they're becoming Sadvipras. Sadvipras means mystics. There are some intellectuals who understood, let's say, intellectually many things, but they said, no, here intellect doesn't help me. I have to go beyond. This is Dharma Vritti. In the first chakra, we have Artha Vritti. It's mainly concerned with religion. Dharma Vritti is mainly concerned with going beyond mind. So these Sadvipras, these super intellectuals, let's say, super, not because they are more intellectuals than the other, but they don't care. They care about the experience. And they have been the one who have given the spiritual science, how to transcend the mind, how to free yourself from the mind. Yeah, so that 2 books are quite simple and rational to think. Of course, there are many. There is one book, Namah Shivaya Shantaya. I don't know if it is in the Spanish translation, But now with Google Translate, you can, if you have the electronic edition, you should get the electronic edition. That's the straight translation you can see. And then you can translate with some, I'm using a software, professional software, and you can understand more or less. And one, for example, in Namah Shivaya Shantaya, Sarkar talks so many things about the religion that has been putting on Shiva so many unnecessary ideas and has made out of some spiritual science guru, make like a religious one. Has nothing to do with what is there around now. Or also Namami Krishna Sundaram. He shows the difference between the spiritual philosophy or spiritual vision with the other vision that the world is an illusion, the world is not real. So these visions of certain religion has made whole society become almost actionless, completely depending on the politicians. So philosophy definitely helps to free the mind, but you have to practice spiritual science.
Practice. Yeah. And are your books in English?
I wrote a book just 1.5 years ago. It is in English. It is the 5 steps of spiritual meditation. It is online. I can send it later on to, that book is giving, this Ashtanga yoga. I made very simple steps, how to use the 5 steps during meditation, because actually it is the key, is the core of all the good meditations or the spiritual meditation. If this core is not there, something is lacking in the practice.